Hello and welcome to Friday Double Bill. This is the show where we review the top Friday releases from both Hollywood and Bollywood. Well, we don't just review these films, we also look at the OMG or the oh my god moments, and we arrive at a movie verdict. So you can decide, or at least we'll tell you, whether we thought the film was a Dekho or Peko at the theatres. Well, that brings us straight to the OMG or the oh my god moments from Mary Kom.
Problem with films like this is that because it's a biopic and it's also an athlete who's currently still striving for gold.
This story is not over yet.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
and it's a work in progress. Is to build dramatic tension, and therefore they use filmmakers. Unfortunately, like this, have used artificial devices to inject, vigor into the screenplay. So you've got her husband, who in reality is just the most extraordinary, man. I mean, he's obviously a self-actualized human being supporting her the way that any life partner should be. He really epitomizes what a good husband should be. Calls her just moments before she's supposed to go back to fight for the world championship, to tell her that their little son is going to have an operation, and that obviously shakes her up. Now this, and therefore you intercut between the operation and the fight and all of that. Now this kind of cinematic devices and cinematic liberties actually, makes you manipulated, and I think is completely uncalled for.
But it's still a lot better than I had imagined, purely because my big, fear before walking into the theatre was how much are they going to Bollywoodize this film? This is Sanjay Leela Bhansali, who's the producer, also credited as the creative director of the movie. And there is that Mr. Sharma, who's from the Sports Federation, and he's your typical Bollywood villain who has absolutely no redemption around him. And though I think it was kind of necessary as a character purely because this is looking at what plagues Indian sport, and sporting federations, the netas and the politicians who run them is a prime example of exactly where we could have reached and where we are at this point.
Well, we only have to look back to our headlines of a few weeks ago, where we had two babus from the Indian contingent.
Every week, I would think.
Who made such an of themselves between molesting some poor girl and drunk driving. And this is the kind of nonsense that these guys get up to when they go abroad and even over here. So while it is indeed a stereotype, unfortunately, unless our babus do that.
Probably necessary. But I think my favorite moment from the film would be when Mary Kom, MC Mary Kom, or Priyanka Chopra in this case, she decides to go back to the ring. And there's that mentor of hers, the mentor coach, who finally accepts the fact that he should help her out. And that Kodak moment where the two babies of hers are strapped behind her, I think that particular second, I felt slight goosebumps, and that's what a film like this should do to us.
Completely, and that and in that same tone, I think it's wonderful that Umang has been able to capture lots of little vignettes like this. There's a scene where the kid has actually done susu all over the newspaper, which is a memento of her having won the third time the world championship, and she just crumples it and throws it into a bin, because for her, in a sense, it's all over until, of course, she comes back.